Hello everybody, welcome to the Go language course. In this video, I'm going to discuss the use of interfaces in Go language. Before I do so, I have to include the main package on the first line of the program. Also, I have to import the fmt package so that I'm able to use the print function coming from this package. Now, let us talk about the interface. What is an interface in Go language? It is actually a type that specifies a set of method signatures. And if a type provides definitions for all the methods in the interface, it implicitly implements that interface. So we have an example to illustrate the use of interfaces. So let us see the structures and the interface on top of the main function. So now I have two structures. One is called dog and the other one is called cat. So I have an empty structure as an example right now, and it will be used as a method listed in an interface. So I have a dog structure and I also have a cat structure that is also an empty structure, and it will use a method listed in the interface. So what is the interface that I'm going to use for dog and cat structures? Let us see here. I have a certain interface called animal, and I have to use the keyword interface here to specify that animal is really an interface, okay? And in this interface, I have a method called speak, and I'm going to use an interface to list the method signatures. And I'm going to tell the structures which are dog and cat here to really implement this interface method, okay? And see, the speak method has no function parameters to include. And how can I implement this speak method in both dog and cat structures? Let's see here. Now I want to implement a method for an instance of a specific structure. So I need to specify the structure that I'm going to use the interface method. So here I'm going to tell a dog structure to use the interface method called speak. So I have to say the dog here. D is an instance coming from this dog structure, and I'm going to implement the speak method from the animal interface. So when I say speak here, I'm able to use the interface method, okay? And now I implement the interface method as follows. I want to return a string, and the string is called wolf. So I'm going to tell a dog to make its voice, okay? And I'm able to do the similar thing on another structure called cat here. So I can tell a cat to speak, which is doing the method in the animal interface, okay? So the speak method for cat structure is something like this. I want to say meow so that the cat can make its own voice, okay? So you can see that the speak method coming from the animal interface can cater for different needs of different structures, okay? So a dog can have its own way of speaking, and the cat can have its own way of speaking, okay? So I have to specify the data type, which is the structure, and I have to mention the instance name. I call it C here. So this one will be accepting a certain cat instance, and D here will be accepting a certain dog instance, okay? So let us see how we can just make a structure instance and tell a dog or a cat to speak up, okay? So I make an animal instance, okay? The animal instance is called my pet, okay? And this animal would refer to a dog structure. So we can see here. So now I make a variable called my pet, which is of animal type. So animal here is actually an interface, okay? And I can just make my pet as an instance of the dog structure, okay? So it is possible to write in this format because a dog is really an animal, okay? This is something that we can see in the implementation of the methods in the animal interface, okay? So a dog can implement the animal interface method. So it is possible to do so because a dog is an animal. So this my pet instance is actually referring to a dog structure, and this dog structure would have an animal interface type as well, okay? So now I can tell the instance to do something. I can tell my pet to really speak. So since my pet is really having a doc structure, I can tell my pet to use the speak method coming from the implementation for the doc structure. So I would just refer to this function. Okay, so when I use my pet to speak, I would call the function here, so that I'm going to say wolf. And if I have a cat coming from my animal structure, I can also do similar things. So here my animal is the interface type, and my pet 2 is a certain instance from the cat structure. Okay, so a cat is an animal. That's why I can tell cat to implement the animal methods, which is an interface method. So here I say my pet2.speak. In this case, I would just tell my cat instance here to go to the interface method corresponding to cat. Okay, so my pet2 here will correspond to the C here. So C is just picking up a cat instance, and the cat instance can do the speaking by saying meow here. Okay, similar to the dog case here. D here is just the parameter for the my pet to be put into the speak method. Okay, so let us see how I can use the speak methods for one dog instance and another cat instance. So I need to remove this line first because I'm not going to use it for the time being. Okay, you can see that I'm able to tell my pet, which is of dog type, to speak as wolf. And I can also tell my pet 2, which is of cat type, to say meow, coming from the speak method implemented for different structures. Okay, so you can see that an interface is really able to tell different structures to implement the corresponding interface methods independently. Okay, so this is what we call an interface. An interface can allow different structures to use the same method name and the method signature here, and the method signature can be used by different structures to do their own implementation of that particular interface method. Okay. Now let us see another type of interface called the empty interface. The empty interface, which is represented by interface followed by a pair of empty curly brackets, would have no method signatures, and it can hold any values of any type. Okay. And the empty interface is really useful for functions that need to handle any type of value. And an empty interface would have a value of nil. So what is an empty interface? I'll show you an example. For example, I have an interface called sum interface. So this is the interface name, and I have to use interface as the keyword, and I have to follow a pair of empty curly brackets after I type the interface keyword. So when I want to really print a value of that interface, which is an empty interface, what will happen? Let us see. Okay, we will see the null value here. So the empty interface would have an empty value called null. Okay, so I'm just able to see the null value coming from the empty interface. So how can it be used? Let us see this example. I want to have a function that accepts an empty interface on top of the main function. So this is the function that accepts an empty interface. So this is the empty interface keyword followed by a pair of empty curly braces. Okay, so I is the interface, which is an empty interface that would become the function parameter of the describe function. So I want to pass something to the describe function, and then I want to do something on the passed value, which is of empty interface type. Okay. So an empty interface can accept any value of any type. So I can just get the value of I together with the type of I. So when I pass the I into the describe function content, I'm able to see the value and the data type of my value passed to the describe function. So let us see how I can really use this function. So here we can just call the function that accepts an empty interface. And here I put 3 different data types to the describe function. One is an integer, and the other one is a string, and the third one is a Boolean value. So what will happen with the describe function on all these 3 different data types? Let us see. Okay, you can see that I'm able to print the value, which is indicated by the V letter here, and the data type is indicated by the uppercase letter T here. So you can see that I can show the value and the data type coming from the describe method, which accepts an empty interface. So the empty interface can accept different data types, and you can see that the describe function is able to handle all of them because the parameter of this function is of empty interface type. Okay. So here I can say hello string because hello is really a string and true is really a Boolean value. So I would say BOOL here. Okay. So this video has discussed the use of interfaces. We can make an interface so that other structure types can use the same interface methods coming from a particular interface. So you can see that different structures can implement the same method signature denoted in the interface. Okay. And we also have the empty interface that can accept different types of values. And we can just allow the empty interface to accept different types of values, and the functions that accept an empty interface can handle different data types. This is the end of the video. If you have any questions about my video, please leave your questions on the comment section below the video. If you like this video, please give me a like and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.